All right, welcome to another episode from the Chart Readers. My, what an after hours, what an earnings reaction. The headlines coming in are not that good either, right? I want to at least highlight the positive that this was an expected move, right? I think the worst thing that could happen when you're looking at a minus 24% candle is not expecting it, right? We talked about if this is going to come down, it's going to come to 6. It might even lose 6 and come to this 550 line, right? Obviously, I'm going to have to start talking about this 450 line on this video a little bit, right? But um, I've always believed if you're going to take a red candle, be ready for it because hopefully you made your plans both ways, right? And this is why I always say there's two sides of a coin. And we talk about both the up and down, right? It is going to be really easy to make a plan if it broke that 770 and flew, right? But you needed to make that exact same plan for where we're sitting right now, right? We'll talk about the headlines coming in. I think the scariest one for me is that they have removed their forward guidance. All right. I saw another one that said there's some uncertainty with the Army contract. That's definitely not a good headline, but man, stocks are about tomorrow. We really want to believe that I'm buying it today because come next earnings, come next couple earnings, whatever it is, you're gonna bring me that thing, right? And when you remove forward guidance, it starts to make people wonder if your next coming calls aren't going to be that good because all of a sudden you're saying, hey, let's get rid of these things that you are expecting for now and we'll readjust in a bit. Like, yo, why are you getting rid of them, right? Like, not for good reasons, obviously, right? So that very, very much is on the concerning side, all right? I wasn't sure what other two I wanted to put. I mean, I think I'm going to talk a bit about SoundHound for sure. We do talk about BBAI and SoundHound generally together, right? And yeah, I mean, this thing, are you continuing actually? No, yeah, you're dropping just a little bit, but I mean, this was a big day right here, right? This was the earnings doji. That's the earnings confirmation. We got some lines up here, green, 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 red, red, red. And actually, even after today's monster 16%, we're still at only a 73 RSI right now, right? Real solid right there on SoundHound for sure, okay? There was a request to cover open. I think open is at least worth our eyes again. All right. We're still basically living on this 202 line. I know it looks like we're a lot higher, right? And yeah, this is definitely a good candle. And yeah, this is the candle that I'm talking about this for again, right? But we need just a little bit more right now, right? I'm not thinking 276 just yet because realistically, 202 actually might be just as realistic right now, right? We'll talk about both these lines and really ultimately what would confirm after that, right? But volume was good today. It was definitely better than Friday, but yet still not that big volume that made that happen, which made that happen, right? And then I'll do it. I'll do FFAI. That'll be the last one we cover. Um, I don't know if I'm going to cover this one really. Look, this one I've been saying it. I've been saying it on all the Discord, but we can't lose this 230 line, and that's basically where we're living at. More than anything, you can't lose the 8 and the 20. You know what? I'm just going to do the first three. I at least threw in BBAI. The two that I at least want to call out real quick. Jamia. What did I type? Jamia. Jumia is looking real solid, actually. They had some good earnings. It looks like that's a decent confirmation. I wish we held a little bit more, but yeah, volume's not bad. Still a healthy 71. There's some room here. There was a lot of green, 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 red, red, red if we can get over that line right there, right? So keep Jumia in your back pocket as well. Otherwise, I think this is what we're going to be talking about on this video right now, all right? Before we do go any further and I give you more of my thoughts and opinions, what are we going to do? Same thing we always do, right? We'll take a look at the daily and the weekly to see how these things are setting up short term. We have our 5 moving averages. There are horizontal support and resistance lines that I do draw manually myself. And then when we are done up here, we'll use the MACD, RSI, and volume as our lower indicators. Hey, really quickly, if you can, please subscribe to this channel. Share this video online with your friends. Comment good or bad if you disagree. Look, anything you can do helps so much with these YouTube algorithms. But for real, just being here, giving me your time, giving me your thoughts. Oh, I'm so grateful for it. All right, so let's get into BBAI. And look, I'm gonna do two things. All right, the first thing I want to do, and man, this really annoyed me. So 4 o'clock market ends, right? 1 o'clock because I'm West Coast, right? 4 o'clock market ends. The first 2 minute candles make it look like they were going for our 720 line, right? Like I can't zoom in any better, but yeah, this thing was a penny away from it, right? That is so annoying. And end of the day, you gotta wait for the numbers. You gotta wait that extra bit. And man, that is when the realities of the earnings came. And I feel like there were so many bad headlines about this earnings. All right. And again, I said it in the opening thoughts. I'm gonna say it one more time here. To me, I think the worst thing I read was the removal of forward guidance, because all of a sudden that makes me think you're not going to do well immediately. Like, I need to wait at least an earnings call or two for you to reevaluate what's going on and then reestablish a further future guidance, right? So that's such a tough thing, because man, the stock market doesn't care about today. They care about how you're going to do tomorrow, and that's a real big signal that they don't know how they're going to do tomorrow, all right? From there, I mean, there was they missed revenue by what looks like a decent amount. They fell somewhere between 125 and 140. I can't even get an accurate number. If you have it, let me see if it's in the Discord room. I actually didn't even look. Earnings headquarters. Do we have it here or no? I don't know if BBAI is big enough to fall here. It's an important one, but it's right here. So look, the revenue. That's a little bit different than what I see. Maybe, oh, it was this. It was this. So this 125, 140, this used to be 167. That's almost 170 down to, I don't even know if it's going to be 130. That's a real big FY23 miss right there. And then again, you see it right here. They withdraw the guidance due to Army program uncertainty. It's the exact same headlines I was reading all over the place. Like, that's just tough. One thing I talked about BBAI, I loved the fact that they had military contracts. Military contracts are some of the deepest pockets out there. They'll keep buying and buying and buying, right? There was some like talk about restricting funds, but again, AI is the tech. If you're going to restrict funds, you're probably going to restrict it to old stuff and put it into the new stuff, right? So there was still reason to be optimistic. All of a sudden, if you're going to throw some uncertainty, I was here wanting a second and third contract. I'm now wondering if they're about to fumble the bag on the first contract, right? So, um, it's tough, and really I think what matters the most is the volume impact that's going to happen, right? Because I'm going to talk about Soundhound shortly, right? Soundhound, even on this big candle day, right, we actually didn't even get more volume than Friday, right? So this was a volume drop, but obviously still a good thing, and it's easy to kind of ignore the volume drop, right? BBAI, it's funny. It might be a volume spike, but like a crazy spike down. I don't really know, right? But like, I no longer am sitting here believing we're going to live in this high 300 million. This is going to be the king or queen of volume. Like, all those thoughts are out. And truly, what I'm kind of expecting, I'm now zooming out a little bit. If I had to make an educated guess, I think we're either going to come down to 387, or maybe even as low as like that midpoint, because it looks like this thing's trying to come up. This thing's pretty flat. I could see it meeting right there. 320 to 385, I legit think is a possibility, because I don't think this 20 moving average is going to hold. The 50 might, but man, I don't know. I just I don't know. And maybe I should say this 388 line, right? Maybe I should, but well, did I? I think I did. I don't know. I forgot my numbers. But look, either we're coming to the 50, either we're going to come to the 20. I'm kind of guessing maybe somewhere in between, or 200, maybe even as low as like that 315. Like this is scary. This is, and this you hear. It was the last thing I said on Friday's video. You either ride the wave up or you avoid the avalanche down. I think the avalanche is just starting right here, all right? For some people, this is a gift, right? They were never able to get in around here. I don't think we're ever going to come back down to a buck something. I actually really, really don't. It does look like there's some pretty good strength right here around that 388, which, if I'm not mistaken, is. Yeah, that 388 is the 50 moving average. So, yeah, maybe 388 will hold, maybe, right? If not, I think there's at least some decent strength. Yeah, there's probably a little bit more strength down here. Let's not talk about that. Let's see. Hopefully, we don't go any lower than that four range. And again, for some people, it actually might be a gift to have this come back to four because you want to be long on this thing, right? This is the reason I try not to fall in love with stocks, man. It is so hard to do. I'm a greedy little human. I really am, and oh man, what was it's 50-50. You see what 50-50 really means, right? So look, I think the last thing I'm going to leave it on is, as much as it sucks to look at this, hopefully you were ready for it, and hopefully you were a man. There was time to pull the plug too. Let's just like zoom out real quick and talk a bit, right? No, let's do it. Oh, that's why. Duh. Post market is what I need to see. 15-minute post market. So there was time to hit eject at the moving average point. There was time to hit eject at our death line, right? Like that would have been the easiest place to say, let's get out of this thing. Once it lost our bottom of the 50-50 point, the next place it was going to go was there. Even six would have been an easy point to say, I'm out of it, because then we were talking about coming to the 550. I'm actually a little bit surprised that I lost that extra 10% and came down to 5 already. But again, we were ready for this, and hopefully there was means to adjust the red, or hey, you're ready for this and you have plans to buy when appropriate, right? So let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions. Even if you disagree, you know how much I appreciate you. Let's wrap it up here with Soundhound. And yeah, this was beautiful right here, right? This is nice, and I do see it falling after hours, but like that's pretty insignificant right there to me. What I am seeing is a nice doji over all the moving averages and a beautiful confirmation, right? It feels like this is not going to go any lower than 1490. If I had to guess, this thing is very bullish over 1490. Really, even coming down to this 1430 is still actually going to be very bullish, right? But ultimately, it does actually seem like we're going to be coming to this 1762. And if you watched my video, one thing we talked about was maybe this little 50% range right here was going to hold it back a little bit. You can kind of arguably say that's where it is, and maybe that's even where we go back into the after hours. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if this thing like kissed 515 to 530, something in that range right there. But yeah, overall, I mean, this is real nice earnings confirmation. Good MACD, green over red, positive, green over red RSI, still a very, very healthy 73 right there, right? So the weekly, no, the weekly is not high. I thought it was. This is actually still a very healthy weekly as well, right? Both on the MACD, on the RSI, and volume is already almost at the white 50-day line, and it's only been a single day, right? So real solid on this one. And I think the worst part really was we saw the expectations. We saw the outcome here. Good earnings gave this 26% gain and then another 17 after it, right? All of a sudden, you start to expect BBAI to gain 20 something and then the other 17. The worry becomes, we just lost the first 20 something and then the next 17 down is about to hit, right? So both sides of the coin, both sides of the reaction, both sides of that 50-50. And really, I'm now going to delete these lines, right? We only kept those lines to highlight the 50-50ness of this one. And And yeah, that was never a real golden line or death line, right? It was just kind of our immediacy, right? So, and then let me at least flash it. C3AI had some crazy earnings today. The one thing I'll say, and I'm kind of glad I'm ending it with this. I almost didn't. Look, this thing looks like a horrible negative 25% day, but this is a good candle. This is a really good candle, actually, because look in the box over there. What actually happens is this thing opens down here at 15 and then goes up almost 10%, $1.50 more, closing at 16.45, right? 47. More people actually gained 10% than lost that if they played it well. Maybe that happens to BBAI. Maybe BBAI will open down here and like open around 5 and then try to go back up to this 550. I could see that actually maybe happening. That's exactly what happened with C3AI today, right? Nonetheless, I am worried that the avalanche is just starting here, right? So let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions, even if you disagree. What was the next one I was going to do? Open. Wow. Gosh. Let's come take a look at open right here. Look, you know what? Let's go into the Discord. Let's talk about how I am by no means a perfect trader. Open. Dun 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 dun. Give me a second. Give me a second. It was from a couple days ago. I wanted the open squeeze. All right, this is where we were talking. Look, so actually, this is a decent transition to what we just. No, let's stay here. So look, where was I? Where was I? Okay, I held during the Open's earnings. It was such a dumb thing. I wanted the open squeeze. I ate a four-digit loss real quick. All right. So Open very much no bueno right there. All right. That said, which actually, I'll be honest, was a little bit crazy to me. We never confirm the loss of the moving averages and all of a sudden find ourselves right back over it, right? Like, I'm telling you, I did not expect this little turnaround after that earnings gap down right there. And it's why we always say, yo, we're not here for a single day, up or down. We need the confirmation and we attack accordingly, right? Open for real is a must watch tomorrow because now all of a sudden we are doing two things. So what was this Thursday volume? 139 million. We did better today. This was even lower. This was only 89 million. We did better today. We have now we've improved volume the last 2 days. Tomorrow I need to break the 50-day line, right? And when we oops, this thing froze a little bit. Give it a sec. There we go. We need more than 210 million shares. You can see 209 is that white number right there. 210 million shares in a 7-hour day. This is some easy math right there. 30 million shares. All right. We need 30 million shares per hour. If we can get 60 million shares in that second hour, it's game over and this thing's going to start to head up and go. All right. We need the volume tomorrow to help us actually escape these two moving averages right now. Because what happens is as lines get closer, and generally it's when you have three. I don't really think about it when there's two, but sometimes it happens. You go down, you go up, you go down, you go up, and you just kind of like oscillate around multiple moving averages. You need the right amount of volume to help you like escape out of that little trap right there, right? So bring me that 30 million shares per day. I'll actually start to believe that we're going to break the lines. Really, I'm not going to move this line. I'm really not. I think this is still the one to get over. I need to get over this earnings day right here. If this can get over 252, 253, I think that could be an interesting entry point if you're not in it right now. Because maybe that will even just surpass this 276 and just start heading straight for that 330 right there, right? So 255 can be an interesting spot. I still think that this is a good line right here. And hey, wait a couple extra cents and wait for that 275 to break. Ain't going to be a bad thing, right? But Open went from, oh man, earnings gap down pretty hard. It was a it was a 24% loss right there, right? Like that was an ugly earnings day. But you don't confirm. That's a green candle. That's a good candle. Let's see if we can confirm up now, right? So This thing knows how to get good volume too. And really, the dork stocks aren't doing that bad. D-Nut is still kind of lit. It's obviously not doing what it did, but it's still trying to hold the moving average right there. Open is the O, Rocket is the R, and this thing went up, came down, and seemingly trying to bounce on the 8 moving average. K, what was the K? Was it Coles? I think it was KSS. I think it was Coles. Coles is setting up as well. Oh, I didn't know that. Look at that. Look at KSS too. That's an interesting setup. Again, not the same pop that it was, but it's still holding the moving averages. I think that's correct. I think that is the K in the dork stock. So in general, they are trying to hold. I don't know how important or how real that meme thing is, but yeah, the O and the K are trying. The R is bouncing. It's really only the D nut, the donut that isn't doing well, right? But keep this one in your back pocket. We're basically looking, like I said, for that 255. It's game over if we lose this 202, right? Maybe we can lower that line to like 180. Really, I think if you lose, what's that from there to there? Yeah, you don't want to lose 188. I think 180 to 188 is probably the real oh no no line, but 202 is not a bad one to have either. 130, 140 is probably what it would fall to if it doesn't continue. All right. So let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions, even if you disagree. Oh, I appreciate you so, so much.